Hi, I'm Kat, and this is Out of the Golden Blue, a travel podcast about trying new things and getting outside your comfort zone. At least that's how I used to introduce this, but we might have to workshop something new because I'm changing a few things around here. Today, we're getting into a big life update. I quit my job, in case you didn't see already on TikTok, and what that means for Out of the Golden Blue, why I did it. It all kind of intertwines and wraps in together. So, background on Out of the Golden Blue, I started it as a travel blog with a B when I was in college, 2016. I studied abroad in London, and I started it like a few months before leaving to study abroad to like basically do like a public journal about what all was going on when I studied abroad. And I decided on the name Out of the Golden Blue because I'm from West Virginia originally. The state colors are gold and blue. And I wanted it to represent like getting outside of my hometown, outside of my home state, getting out of my comfort zone, all those things. And it became a travel blog about my different travels. I have been to over 30 countries and over 30 states in the US. And I just love travel. It's like one of my greatest passions in life. And so I started it as a blog because West Virginia state colors are gold and blue. And it was kind of a play on like doing something out of the blue, like kind of being more spontaneous or something happening to you out of the blue and like how you kind of dealt with it or how I dealt with it. And so yeah, I called it Out of the Golden Blue, and it was my travel blog. And then around, this was in 2016, so like travel Instagrams and stuff like that were like barely just starting. Then in 2018 I made it into an Instagram and tried to do the like travel Instagram influencer thing for a little bit. Not even like influencer thing, that's just like where I was posting a lot of my pictures of traveling. And I didn't really like it that much, like the Instagram part of it all. I think I am way more of a video girl and a talking girl, a yapper. And I just think that like at least in that era in 2018, the travel bloggers were very curated, like wearing like a sundress on top of a mountain in this really like picturesque picture. And that just like wasn't my vibe at all. I was like, I'm not about to hike Machu Picchu and like change into a sundress for like a really cool shot. I just want to like share about like my trip in its own way. So that I still have the Instagram now, but like I love that like short form content, reels, TikToks are like a big thing. Then I kind of went into TikTok in 2021, I think is when I made my TikTok for Out of the Golden Blue. And that's like the most fun I've had with making travel content in a really long time. Like I said, like the blog thing wasn't really for me either because I'm not a very good writer. My mom can attest to that. She's had to grade my paper, or not grade my papers. She's had to edit my papers my whole life growing up in school. And like I said, again, with the picture thing, like I feel like that things were just a little too curated. So I love videos and I love sharing my travels in that way. I then started the travel podcast in, I think it was 2023. And it was just a fun way for me to recount trips I'd been on. I have interviewed different ones of my friends that have gone on really fun international trips with me. I interviewed some family too that about either like trips we've taken together or about stuff that they've done in their lives and whatever. So I definitely want to continue that hopefully in the coming months with this podcast. But for now, I just need to give you guys like a big life update on what Out of the Gold and Blue even is and what happened with me quitting my job. So a lot of this stuff that I've said is on TikTok. If you guys want to go follow me there and like watch some of the videos, I kind of hard launched me quitting my job a little bit ago. When I'm recording this right now, it's the end of March in 2026. I think I'm going to try to post this like somewhat quickly, but we'll see because I have so many ideas for what I want to do, and I'm starting to just get like I don't decision fatigue. I don't even know if that's the right word, but I'm starting to just like want to do everything, but then I'm like need to figure out a little bit better like structure and routine of how to tackle it all. So, okay, let's see. I kind of explained the timeline of Out the Gold and Blue, and then now it's been a little bit more of like a TikTok content page for my travels, and then it kind of just went into lifestyle a little bit. I feel like I love traveling so much. Like I said, I'm really passionate about it. I'm someone who travels a ton, but I found myself like riding the high of going on a trip and then coming back to like normal life and then just like hitting the biggest slumps ever, like the post-trip depression, the post-trip blues. Like I was just like, okay, I can't keep doing that. Like I love traveling so much, but like at some point you do got to come home and work and do other things. And so I was trying to find a better balance of having so much fun on my trips, but also just enjoying my life like at home when I come back from those trips. And I really love where I live. I live in Tampa Bay, Florida. I'm based here. I just moved over to the St. Pete side. And like I live in paradise. Like I live where people vacation, and I would just always come back from trips and like still enjoy my life in some ways, but in other ways I just was like, oh, I'm only ever living for a trip, and I really wanted to change that. So I started posting a little more about just like kind of romanticizing my life. And recently I've done like Tourist Tuesdays where I'll just like do something around Tampa that I always like try to like save for a certain day or something like that. And I'm like, why don't I just incorporate that in my like every week of exploring my own city and being a local tourist, because there is so much to do here. And especially right now in March and April, these are like the best times to be here. So I'm trying to do more fun things around here. Last time I posted was 2 years ago. I think it was March of 2024. And then since then I had recorded another episode in the summer of 2024 around my 28th birthday and was like sharing more of what was going on. I think I'm still going to post that, but I might not post it till after I post this, which the timeline might be off, but I'm just really excited to share this stuff. But took a sabbatical from work. It was supposed to be 6 months off work, ended up not going back to the job that I thought I would be able to. And it turned into like 9-10 months of a sabbatical. And it was really fun and awesome and cool, and I learned a lot. And however, with all the ups, there was a few different downs that happened. I got in a car wreck and had to go to the chiropractor a bunch. The job I thought that I was going to return to basically didn't take me back. I don't know, it was kind of like I can get more into it in something else, but I ended up having to find a different job to go back to, and the job search was just not very fun, and I think that's kind of led to where I am now. I ended up finding a job I got a job offer like my first few weeks of looking for a job back in like June 2024. And it just really wasn't the right fit. But I was like nervous because I didn't have a job lined up. So I was like, well, should I just take this? I ultimately didn't take it. Luckily, I was living with family at the time, so I wasn't like super pressed on finding a job yet. So I took a little more time to find something that just like better fit what I wanted. And I started a job in October of 2024, and I had been there for a year and a half. And I just quit that job in February of 2026. And it was a company that I worked in accounting and finance. I can't remember if I already said that. I'm a CPA. And my previous jobs were more on the accounting side, and this job was more on like the finance side, like financial analyst. And I had just like a lot of ups and downs in the year and a half that I worked there, both personally and like in the career. And I feel like after I graduated college, I've been kind of a bit of a job hopper. I've had 3 different jobs in accounting and finance, and I feel like I keep telling myself like, oh, it's just this job, it's just this situation, it's just this current economy or whatever. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, I think it's just accounting. Like, I think that I'm putting so much pressure on myself for like the major I chose at 19 to continue doing that. And I don't need to keep doing that, especially when I have like passions and interests and other things that I know can make a living, which is what I'm about to get into with Out of the Golden Blue. But yeah, I just got to a point where I kept like wrestling with myself of like, okay, I don't like this job, but like maybe I'll like another job. Maybe I'll like it if my boss is different, or maybe I'll like it if I like my coworkers better, or maybe I'll like it if the company does something that I'm more passionate about, or like, I don't know, it kept being a lot of like if, ands, and buts. But the common thing I feel like was that I didn't enjoy doing accounting 40 plus hours a week every single day, like that kind of thing. So I quit accounting basically, but I'm not going to say that I'm like quitting it forever, that I I'm definitely want to keep up my CPA license. I'm going to continue doing all like my continuing education and stuff that I need to do for that, because it is like a really good certification to have. And if something happened in the future, I could very well go back to a great paying job with my CPA for sure. So I definitely want to keep that door open and still hold my certification. And I'll get into it. There's a few things I'm going to be doing, and one of them is kind of still on the finance accounting side. But for the most part, I'm taking a step back from accounting and finance, at least at first, to kind of focus on being more creative. So I posted another video about my like 3 words of 2026, and they are create, intention, and patience. And they've been driving me this year for sure. Create is mainly like, I feel like this New Year's for 2026, I always kept looking back at all my goals that I've set in the past, and the one that I keep not doing anything about is being more creative. I keep saying like, oh, I want to be more creative. I want to do more crafts. Like I have like bins on bins of craft stuff in my room that I'm like, oh, I want to do this or that, or even not even just like physically creative of like doing art and doing like arts and crafts kind of things, but just also being like now in this day and age, like digitally creative. Like I really like stuff like marketing, graphic design, like those kind of things, like making videos. That's like a form of art and like digital art in a way. So I want to like lean in more to that. And I feel like I was probably supposed to be a marketing girly in a past life and ended up being really good at accounting, and like was kind of like pressured into it by different people. And I don't like have any regrets necessarily about like what I majored in. Like I think it was a really good degree, and especially because I had to take out student loans, like I think it was the most like it was a good investment at the time, basically. And I think, like I said, I still am going to hold my CPA certification, and I think an accounting degree is very valuable. And I think at the time it made sense to get a good job out of college, to be able to start paying back my student loans, all those things. But now I'm almost 30. I turned 30 this summer, and I want to make different choices for myself, and I don't want to act in fear. And I actually have a very decent financial, like, what is the word I'm looking for? I've been good with my finances in my 20s, basically. And that's how I was able to take a sabbatical. That's how I've been able to travel a ton in my 20s. And I want to like reward myself for it in a way. And I also, like I said, I know that I can always go back to a good accounting job that's going to make me good money. But for now, I really want to try to work for myself and see where that takes me. So I have had the words of the year, create, intention, and patience. And one of the things that I feel like I have been doing is like just wanting, especially with like accounting versus working for myself, is I wanted like everything to kind of be perfect before I left. And I quickly realized that that was not going to happen, or if it was going to happen, it was going to take way longer than I thought. And I got to the point at my job where it was just like becoming really like toxic to go to work, and it was just draining everything in me. And it got to the point where I was like, if I don't leave now, I'm not going to have the energy to do all these things that I want to do to work for myself. So I need to leave while I still have like some energy left in me to figure out the next thing. And I've been self-employed for a month, and I don't regret leaving my job. However, I do think I have a long ways to go to make out of the golden blue in this business like what I want it to be. So I left basically one full-time job for 3 part-time jobs is kind of the best way to put it. If you didn't already know, my best friend and I, from growing up, her and I have been friends since kindergarten. We started a Etsy shop called Out of the Golden Blue when we were in college, and we bought a Cricut together the summer after our freshman year, and we made like monogram decals for our friends. That fall, I joined a sorority, and so I made a bunch of like sorority things for people for like big and little reveals and all sorts of different stuff, graduations, whatever. So her and I had this Etsy shop. It's called The Big Blue Bow. You can look it up on Instagram and on Etsy. We don't have a lot of stuff posted on Etsy right now, but that's one of the things that I want to bring back. Like I said, I'm quitting my one job for 3 part-time jobs. So that's one of them. And that one, it's definitely very creative. That one I am excited about because it is a little more like physical, like crafting, like I'm using my hands a lot more, and that one's not really something where you necessarily like sit at a desk to do it. Using a Cricut, you can kind of just be like working around doing different things. So I'm really excited to bring that back. And a lot of my friends and family probably know about it and have bought stuff from it before, or have had me give them gifts where I made stuff with my Cricut. So that's one of the things. And that is something that I've already made money on before. And it was something that I just like kept putting on the back burner because one, it takes up a lot of space. Like having a Cricut, having the vinyl out, having all these things, like you need space to spread out and do it. And one of the places I lived a few years ago, I did have like a craft corner that I was able to spread out and do it. And that's when I used it a lot. But then the place I was living before I moved into where I live now, we didn't really have space for me to like leave all my craft stuff out. So I kept like kind of hiding it in a closet, not hiding, that's dramatic. I kept putting it away, and then like I would still have a craft day every once in a while, but I feel like for me at least, like having stuff like visible and in front of you, and something where you can like, if I'm, hungry for lunch, I can leave it sitting out and go do it. Or if, I'm tired today, I need to go to sleep, I can come back to it tomorrow and like be able to kind of pick up where I left off instead of getting every single tool and thing I need out for it is really helpful. So that's actually where I'm currently sitting right now. This is the new craft room, she shed, headquarters. We're workshopping a bunch of names for it. I think we're going to call it headquarters officially. But, I think a light just went out. See, so we're obviously workshopping it. I wanted to make it a little cuter before I recorded something or did anything. Okay, I wanted to make it a little cuter before recorded or anything, but like I said, I need to have more patience, and I think I need to really, like I said, just start doing things before they're perfect. And I've definitely realized the past few weeks that things are not going to be perfect for a very long time. So that's okay, and I need to just work through it. And I think it will actually be fun to look back in a few months on where we started with this room. I posted a few TikToks about just like what it looks like in here right now. I want to paint. I have some flooring in here that's just like those Sam's Club squares. I need to get more. I literally have enough that's like just around this table. I want to paint the walls and make it cute. I need to bring all my craft stuff in here. I guess I need to replace that light bulb that just went out. Yeah, so a few different things we need to do in here, and I'm excited, and it's going to be a whole big project. So anyway, that's the first part of it, the big blue bow, the craft stuff. The second part is doing content creation, both for myself and for other people and other brands. So I'm working with my friend David. He is a YouTuber. His name's David Zhou, at The Great Zhou, Zhou. And he is one of my friends from grad school. We kind of have the same friend group. We've gotten closer over the years in our 20s. We were both in a wedding together in December. He was one of the groomsmen and I was one of the bridesmaids, and another one of the bridesmaids is his wife, and the bride and another one of the bridesmaids, and all of us were best friends in grad school. And we also lived together my first year out of college, and we all are CPAs together. And so we've all gotten closer throughout our 20s with working in similar industries and, just dealing with our 20s and all living in Tampa together. So he actually left accounting to do content. He is a photographer and videographer, and he has been someone who's like really inspiring to me. And I kept joking for the past 6 months basically of like, you're gonna hire me, like I'm gonna be your assistant, like I'm gonna be your manager, I don't know, just like making up stuff basically of things that I could do for him. And we hung out last June, I'm kind of all over the place, but last June is when I started an LLC for the Out of the Golden Blue, and that's the first time I made money with my content. I posted a TikTok of how much I made in the first month. Nothing crazy, but you can go watch it. And that's when I like started realizing like that you could make money from, not that I knew that you couldn't, but I feel like a lot of the people I follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok are either people that started at such a young age that they already had like such a big following because they'd been doing YouTube since they were like 15, or it was people that like blew up on TikTok during COVID. So I feel like it was really hard for me to see how like a micro creator could grow and like actually make money. So I didn't really care too much about it for a while. I was just like, I'm enjoying romanticizing my life by posting fun little videos and using like social media for like the social aspect of it, of just like posting fun videos when I hang out with my friends, like them post, like seeing what they're up to, posting fun travel videos, that kind of stuff. Like I didn't really, for me, it was just kind of like a fun creative outlet. And then I tagged a brand in an Instagram story post and they sent me this app that like small creators can make money from. So I started using it last June, realized that I could start making money, ended up starting my LLC, and that kind of just like reignited my like want to be a small business owner and self-employed and all these things. Around that time, I reached out to David and asked him about making content for weddings, because wedding content creators have become really popular and big recently. Basically, like instead of hiring a photographer or videographer, there's like a girl with an iPhone who just like follows you around that day or like takes whatever content you want behind the scenes. And that's not necessarily something that's like a huge goal of mine, but if it's something that makes me money and I can do in order to then do kind of the next step of stuff that I want to do, then I'm all for it. I've been a bridesmaid 5 times. I'm basically a professional bridesmaid at this point, so might as well be an actual professional bridesmaid and get like paid to do the content creation. But I was messaging him and asking him like, hey, like how much would like a girl with an iPhone make at like being hired for a wedding? And he was telling me some prices that he's heard, and he literally is in the industry, and I was like in shock. So that was another thing that had me be like, okay, if I could basically take a weekend, a month, or like a quarter or something like that to go to a wedding and do that kind of stuff, then that could like kind of get the ball rolling on things. So I was doing a lot of like trying to make my content better and do stuff like over the summer. And then work got super crazy in the fall because it's like our budget season. We had a lot of turnover. And so I was like having to help out do other people's jobs, and work just became like super, super draining. So I kind of put all those ideas and thoughts on the back burner, but I did have like notes on notes of like all these ideas and things. And luckily I had started my LLC and doing a few things with that. I also have one of my best friends from grad school who was also like, her and I talk a lot about doing like working for ourselves one day and doing different stuff. She is going to do more of like kind of starting her own tax firm and do people's taxes, fractional CFO work, that kind of thing. And so her and I have talked a lot about that as well. And that's been like really helpful to have people that live close by and have been in a similar industry that you've been in before and also are trying to pivot to something else. I think that's been my biggest like helpful thing to have, is like the support of like my immediate friends that are doing something similar, because I have heard a lot about how like isolating it is to be self-employed. Like you don't really have coworkers, like all those things. But I feel like I kind of already have like 2 built-in coworkers with my friends that are doing similar stuff like this. So that's really helpful. So in terms of doing accounting stuff still, I want to help her kind of build her client base. And then when she gets to a point where she needs more help, I'm going to step in and help her with accounting and finance stuff. And I'm really excited for her. And like, she already has a ton of clients. She's doing people's taxes. If you guys need someone to do your taxes this year, let me know if I post this before April 15th. Or if you are a small business in Tampa and you do need someone to help you with your bookkeeping, fractional CFO work, taxes, etc., I can give you her contact information. But yeah, I'm really excited for her, and I'm gonna do kind of accounting and finance stuff with her. And I also want to start selling some of my templates on Etsy. I track my personal finances. I have been doing it since I was in grad school in 2018, 2019. So I literally know how much I've spent every single year since then. And I know how much I've spent on every single trip. I have it like written down or in a spreadsheet of how much I've paid rent all those times, how much money I made, all that kind of stuff. And tracking my finances has been a really great way that I've been able to take this leap of faith of working for myself and seeing how it works out, how I was able to take my sabbatical, how I've been able to travel to 30 countries, is I'm really good about being aware of my finances. And even if it's like I'm not, even at times when I wasn't making the most money, like in college, or even if I like, I don't know, just would travel and stuff like that, like I'm definitely not the most like frugal person. Like I don't consider myself someone that's like on a strict budget, but I think as if you're just tracking your expenses and you're aware of how much things are, that is like super helpful. And so I've been tracking them in like an Excel, like Google Doc spreadsheet for, like I said, the past 7 years or so. So I want to make that into a template that people can buy and, you know, put your own information in there. Maybe even like help people do that. Like if people provided me like their credit card statements or something like that and I could put it in themselves, I think I'm gonna help my mom do something like that. But that's an idea of another route I could take. So that's kind of like one of, I guess those are the three, like I said, part-time jobs that I'm replacing my full-time job with. One is gonna be like Etsy, Big Blue Bow, creative, more Cricut, vinyl, that kind of stuff. The other is gonna be content creation, basically like social media marketing. David's my first client, but I'm gonna hopefully get other clients in the Tampa Bay area, either like small businesses. My three things that I love to post content about are travel, food, and finance. So those are the things I kind of want to focus on. And I guess like crafting, creative, like the that kind of stuff is sort of like a fourth. So there's a place here in Tampa that I'm like, that I feel like kind of falls along those, even though it's not like a travel or food business, like it's kind of along those things. So I feel like basically my ideal client is like people that I work or already like use their product or their service, or you like go to their shop, like that kind of thing. So those are or consume their content, like I said, if they're a content creator. So I'm going to be working with him. I'm going to be working with my other friend with accounting stuff. I'm going to be working for myself. I'm going to be working with my best friend from from growing up. Yeah. So just all the things basically. And right now I have notes on notes of a million ideas. And I also got to the point kind of with work where I was like, I don't just want to like my sabbatical, I feel like was more like, I want to quit or leave, or like I need a break. Like I literally need to step back and just like not have to think about work or anything or that kind of stuff for a while. And this time it doesn't feel like that at all. Like I needed the time in my day to not stress about this like 9 to 5 accounting job in order to like grow a business for myself and work for myself and grow a client base and like do all those kind of things. And would it probably have been smarter to wait until I had more of a steady client and base side income, whatever, client income, whatever I said. Probably, I don't know, time will tell, because I feel like I said, I got to the point where work was so draining of my energy and time that I wasn't able to really build that much on the side. I mean, a little bit, like I have done, like I said, all these small steps over the past decade of my life of building all these different avenues. But it really did get to the point where I was like, I think if I really can take this 40 plus hours a week and work on all these things, I have lists and lists of notes on my phone about, that I can be successful. And if you guys think that's delusional, that's fine, because I believe in myself with this and I'm really excited to see where it takes me. And I do have savings for the next little bit to pay my bills, to pay my rent, while I figure out what else is going to make me money in all those avenues. And I'm going to be okay. And I'm really excited. And I hope you guys follow along for everything that's going to come out of it. And let me know what you want to see the most out of those 3 different things that I'm talking about, or with the different content stuff. Because like I said, I almost have like decision fatigue about having so many ideas and don't really know where I should focus my time the most yet. But I'm also going on a few different trips this summer. If you want more of a reason to follow along, I'm going to Maui in May, Maui, Hawaii, to visit my mom. I'm going to South Africa for my 30th birthday. I'm going to fly through London on the way there and back. So I'll be in London for a few days. And then 2 weeks in South Africa, we're going to Cape Town and Johannesburg and Kruger National Park for safari. I'm so excited. I'm going to the Noah Khan concert in Fenway that's like really close to my 30th birthday. That's like 2 days after. And I'm going to see Harry Styles in the fall in New York City at Madison Square Garden. So if none of the businessy stuff that I talked about excites you, you should still follow along for all my fun travel content and fun trips that I'm going on. And yeah, so thank you guys for listening, watching, following along, whatever. Even if you just watch this because you know me from a past life and are nosy with what I'm doing with my life, hi. So thank you. I am excited to keep updating you guys and hopefully having this place be way cuter and letting you know how everything goes. And hopefully I don't have to go back to accounting. So please support all the things that I'm doing so that I don't have to go back and do all that full time. All right, bye.